All right, so the definition of a derivative. We're live. We've been talking about, I'll reiterate this, calculating the slope of a tangent line, right? We went through secant lines. We've been through estimating slope of tangent lines. Today we're going to calculate it exactly. Okay. So the slope of a tangent line is actually what we call the derivative. If I take the derivative of a function, gives me the slope of the tangent line. All right? So finding the derivative of a function gives you the slope of the tangent line. I'm just going to give you this year the definition. I'm not going to, next year I'll show you actually how the definition is built from the secant line and limits. Okay. But I'm just going to show you the formula this year. Okay. The definition of a derivative so we write it with a little tick mark in the top. F prime, it's called F prime at X. You might also see it written like this, Y prime or dy dx. Those are three different ways to write derivative. Okay. It is the limit as h approaches 0, f of x plus h minus f of x over h. That's the limit definition of a derivative. You guys were pretty good at limits, and you've become pretty good at algebra, so figuring this out shouldn't be that big of a challenge. Okay. Let me show you an example. Like I said, I'll explain this in a little more depth next year. I just want to get you more familiar with using it and being able to calculate it, okay? Let's say calculate f prime of x for f of x equals x squared. We'll start easy. So we're trying to find the derivative of f. All right, so if I were to note that, the derivative of f is every time my calc students run across this problem, I require them to write the formula down. called memorization techniques. You will do the same. Okay. Yeah, I know it's a pain in the butt.
What is different? Because on the one up there it says FH approaching 0.
Oh, I did write X, didn't I? I did about 20 when as X approaches this morning, so it probably just kind of came out that way. So write that down every time you do one of these problems. You got to know it. It's just got to be memory. On the AP exam, it's got to be automatic because your mind's going to be melted by the end of it. Okay. So now I'm going to use x squared in here, right? That's my function. What is f of x plus h? I plug x plus h in for x, right? You with me? Yeah. I've taken x plus h and put it in x squared. That's all it is. Right? The h squared. The whole thing is squared. See that? X plus h? Yeah. You put it in f. It goes right there. So it's x plus h squared. You're just substituting this in here. Now the next one's going to be just subtracting x squared because that's f of x, right? So minus x squared and then over h.
Oh, so h squared?
So f of x is x squared. And then, of course, h, we just put it in. So all you're doing is substituting values in the function. If I ask you what's f of 5? 25, you just put 5 squared, right? Now we're just putting letters in. So now we need to expand it out. Because right now it's 0 over 0, right? If you plug and chug. So we got to algebraically simplify it. Foil that. Oh, it's x plus h times x plus h, right? Yeah. So we get x squared plus xh plus xh plus h squared. So there are two of them. If you expand it, I just skip that step. That's where I get two xh's. Okay. What do you see? Yep, we can cancel the x squareds and factor an h out. So x squareds are gone. I have an h in each term. Factor it out. Now these can cancel, right? Now plug and chug. What do I get? 2x. H is 0. Right, so I plug 0 in, and I get 2x. So basically, I see that I get an indeterminate form. So I do some algebra to simplify it, and I plug h again in, and I get an answer. Okay. This is the derivative of f. So f prime of x is 2x.
Okay. So what is the slope of the tangent line at x equals 0? Yeah, why is it 0?
Because it's 0 times 0.
Yep. You just plug it into the derivative. F prime at 0 is 0. And you can go back to the graph and x equals 0 and see that that tangent line would probably be horizontal, right? All right, what's the slope? What is f prime at -1? Yep. So the slope, this is the slope of the tangent line at x equals -1. So if I go up to my graph at -1, I can see that I have a slope of about -2. Okay.
Where do you get it to?
What 2? Here?
Yeah.
It's this. F prime of x is 2x. So f prime at 0 is 2 times 0. So I could find the slope of the tangent line for any x value. I just plug it in now that I've found the derivative. Okay. Does this, you got, kind of makes sense? Do you want me to show you a more messy algebra problem?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Here's another way the calculus book is not going to ask it this way, but you might see it in your trig book. Find an expression for the slope of the tangent line to the graph of y equals do you want to make it really bad? Oh my gosh, really? What did I assign for today?
4, 5, 15.
4, 5, 15. Okay, so I'm going to do a cubic.
Like 30.
No.
50.
Those are AP Calc test countdowns. Okay, so that might be a way we ask this question. Find an expression for the slope of the tangent line to the graph of y equals x cubed plus x squared at any point. That's the same thing we just did. It's just asked in a different way. Okay, so what's the definition? Okay, write it down. No. This here, I'm plugging x plus h in for x cubed and x squared. It goes in for the x. That's what it looks like. So we have x cubed and x squared. The x plus h goes into both of them. Okay? Yeah. Nothing. This is one of about 40 or 50 things you should have memorized at bare minimum. But here's the thing. We do it so much in class, it pretty much becomes automatic. Yeah. So you don't worry about those 40 things. They pretty much get cemented in your brain. Gabby.
I hit you. You hit me.
No. You'll come up with an expression. This one, the answer is going to be 3x squared plus 2x. That's our expression at any point. I'll show you the algebra to get to that.
Why do you
Because I'm subtracting f of x. So here I have the x plus h in it, minus the actual function f of x, right? Yeah, it's always h approaches 0. See that h on the bottom? I didn't show you guys why it's h approaches 0. I'll save that for next year. My concern here is that you'd be able to calculate it out. Yes, this definition is always that right there. Okay. Okay, so we have some algebra to do.
I totally bombed that.
All right. There's this right here. See, there are 3 of them, right? So I've foiled 2 of them, which we did in the previous problem. And then I still have another one to multiply it by because there are 3. Okay, this one's squared, so I wrote that down. And then I subtracted, but I distributed that minus sign here. The nice thing about these problems is a lot of stuff ends up canceling out. You just got to get to the point where you can start doing that. Okay. All right, so how do I multiply those together? Yeah. Every term times every term, yeah. So I have x cubed plus 2x squared h plus xh squared. And then I go back here, x squared h, 2x h squared, and h cubed. Plus that. It's just lots of algebra. Why? Because it takes you 5 seconds to write it down? You can do it. Okay, so basically, here's what I did. First times first. Second times first. Third times first. Then we take the second one, multiply the first and the second, second and second, third and second. Okay, we can cancel stuff now.
have almost the whole length of my page.
Yeah, I know. You wanted a hard one. Okay, so I have x cubed minus x cubed. I have x squared minus x squared. Right here. It came from that. That's it. Okay. Let's do... Okay, these two here can combine, right? So how many x squared h's are there? Xh squared? Those are the ones that can combine, right? Yay! You could take an h out of each term, right? Cancels out. Plug it in. Plug 0 in. What do we get? 3x squared, 0, right? 2x, 0, and 0. There's your derivative. I know, right? So you have to be very organized in these problems. You cannot, like a lot of you like to just scribble here and there. You're going to screw it up. I promise. You have to be organized, line by line. Write it down every time. I know it's a lot of writing. I do. Trust me. I've done about a bazillion of these through my life.
A bazillion?
No, probably not that many, but you get the idea. It's an exaggeration. If you stay organized, you'll be okay. If not, you're gonna make mistakes. Okay?
Everyone's complaining about it, but she's been really good.
She's not been mean to you. She's been upright with you because you don't do your work.
I didn't say mean, I said lenient.
Oh, lenient. I heard mean. Okay. Any questions? Any questions?
I turned in all my stuff. Is it really?
You don't even know.
I didn't even know.
You guys, you know how to do limits. You know how to do algebra. You just gotta get your mind right on it. Okay, what's the work here? I've only assigned you 4 problems. Tuesday. I suggest you don't wait till Monday.
Monday night.
Okay, so you're going 4 problems, the color's pretty long.
Oh, yeah. In fact, there's something on.
What's the note on 61?
42.23.
I didn't teach you minutes, degrees, and seconds, so you have to use the decimal of it. Okay. What's the slope of the tangent line to that curve?
I want to know.
That frowny curve?
That's funny.
No, it's sad.
Yeah.